camera, cheese, as well. And then I live in the greater Tokyo metropolis, things in the world, and that's why I love to write. I love to tell these stories. So in 2017, I got an agent after querying my novel, and then my novel went out on submission. So the agent sends it out to different publishers, and it got interest from several of them, went to acquisitions where the publishers talk about, the marketing aspect, things like that. But they never bought it. And so I was really discouraged by that. And there was some pressure just to keep writing, do the next book, and I just couldn't write with that kind of pressure. So I decided to split ways with my agent, and after I did that, the words started coming, and I started writing more stories. And I just want to encourage you to keep going with your dreams, whatever those dreams are. It took me 16 years of writing seriously when I first started writing, before I published my first novel. Some Asian vibes, some historical notes in it as well, that we'll talk about later. And here is the blurb from the back. With her crooked spine and reckless heart, Princess Mira always knew she wasn't meant to become queen of Ezo. But when her sister, the rightful heir, is cursed on the eve of her coronation, Mira must defend her kingdom from ruthless invaders by taking the throne. Yet while some countries have simple coronations, in Ezo, the princess must first claim the sea dragon. Weak female protagonist physically, but she is so strong inside. And then that grows. And again, here are some of the tropes that the book has. There's deadly pudding in it, if you like pudding. Beware. Japan has the best pudding. I will say this. You can go to the convenience store and it's like $1, $1.50, and you get those yummy custard pudding. So if you ever go to Japan, please go get one. And it's not poisoned. Alright, so here's the book, Saints and Monsters. I've never read it aloud before, so you guys are lucky ducks. Though he also said it was a shame for all that courage to be wasted on someone fragile. A muscle twitches in my jaw as I attempt to bury those words. So a lot of it came from my daily life. Things that I see around Japan. You see here a dragon. It's at Enoshima Island, where there's a folklore about a dragon and a princess-like figure. And so that was some inspiration for the story. You all love hot spring bathing, so there's an onsen scene in every single book I write. It's a time of fusion, east meets west. So I've had some readers say, this doesn't seem historical. Why are they, going to a red brick warehouse? Or why is she not wearing a kimono in this scene, but she's wearing a kimono in that scene? Well, in this time period, it was really popular for the elites to dress like Westerners. It was the fad. That's what they did. So you can see this is a painting from, I can't remember who did this particular one, but they would dress like this for outings to show their affluence. So Western clothing was definitely something that was fashionable. The red brick warehouses, they tried to do architecture from different countries that came in, like Matthew Perry came. There's gas lamps in my book as well. Some have called it like a Victorian Japanese kind of book. Because again, those things had just come to Japan and were being woven into the culture. Which is where you plot out all the elements and then you just write it and don't go back and revise anything. And you're expecting it to be messy. And then after that 1 month of zero drafting, I went in and I tweaked it, I fleshed it out, added more word count to it. The zero draft was probably 40,000 words, and then that first draft was about 90,000. So it took me 3 months to do that. And then I sent it off to beta readers and then revised it more. And let me see, other books. The Water Child, my very first book I wrote, that was self-published. That one took me the longest. I don't know how many years that one took me. Partly because it's historical fiction, so I had to research a lot, and I did a lot of interviews with people as well. And then the writing process, it was also a very personal story because it was about the 2011 tsunami earthquake. And my husband's parents had been living in that city in Miyako and doing renovate, they built a community center for people and were clearing out the debris and all that. And so it was like a lot of trauma to work through. Am I going to meet to think of that when you're trying to market a book or find a publisher. When you're in that creative moment, you really have to allow yourself to spill out your heart, to write your words without having an editor in the back of your mind saying, oh no, let's change this, let's change that. It'd be kind of like me giving this talk, and while I'm giving it, critiquing myself and telling myself everything I'm doing wrong. It would make me so nervous, I couldn't finish. So if you're writing with that same mindset, it's going to be really difficult, and you'll run into writer's block. And one of the things I do to combat that is I have positive things people have said about my writing or my stories, and I put them on little sticky notes, and I put them on my board. Or it could be something that I'm passionate about. Like with Saints and Monsters, that was representation for autoimmune. So I put that up on my board, like, this is one of the reasons I'm doing this. You know? So having those notes of support for yourself and putting them where you can see them, I find that to be really helpful. Every day, probably 3-4 hours a day, and then on weekends. And for me, I have 3 little kids, although if they were here, they would say, I'm not little. And so that was early mornings and at night after they went to bed. But maybe I only had 15 minutes. And so I just had to take what I had and then go back later and fix it. But I've also had seasons, like right now, where I'm only writing once a week. So I definitely don't have a consistent schedule. I know some authors do, and others kind of just take what time they can make in their schedule. And with the small press, I was able to have some feedback into it, which is nice, because I hear with the bigger publishers, you don't have that sometimes. So I could choose what kind of feel of cover I wanted. And so I said, I don't want the cover with the people on the front. I want something kind of classy. And so, you know, she had the sheet right up with my book, and she knew the feel I had wanted. And so this is what she came up with her first try, and there were different color variations, but I was really happy with it.
Whoa. Ooh.
Yeah, just to try a little bit.
Yeah. Wow. So beautiful.
Thank you.